Next up is the Strawberries block. And these are the colors I'm going to be using. Taffy, Pink Lemonade. I have Wildflower on my machine, so I'll use that. And this is the green I've been using, which might be a little bit dark. I might use a combination of these two greens. So Clover and Aloe. We'll see whatever strikes me at the moment. This is the fabric that we're going to be using, and you do need, this is the whole like little bitty embellishments. You do need your twine, and you're going to need vinyl as well. So get your vinyl. I have to find mine. Vinyl's always so hard to find because it's clear. So here is my twine. Put away all the other little goodies so you don't lose those. And I have an empty bag that the twine used to be in. I will, not the twine, but the vinyl. And I'm going to rehoop. So this, again, is, let me make sure it's in this hoop. Look at my guide. Strawberries in the 5x7. So I'm going to continue to use this same hoop right here. Let's go ahead and put this up. So I don't run the risk of stitching down on these blueberries. I'm going to just cut them off. This is what got stitched down before. And I cut from the back side, and I'm cutting in between these two embroideries. Let's toss that one to the side. I'm going to go ahead and scoot this one up. Take my little clips off. Roll it out a little bit. I'll put these clips back on. These are just Clover jumbo clips. We carry those at the store. Love them. And I'm going to put the top one on first. That's always the easiest. Well, I mean, they're all easy, but I like putting that one on. And then I like kind of pulling the fabric down and doing this one. And you don't want to stretch the fabric, but I just kind of hold it taut. There, and we're ready to go. I'm going to slide this on my machine, making sure the last embroidery is not tucked under. I feel traumatized. Okay, and I don't think there's anything else. I do need to find my vinyl, but I'll look for that in just a second. And I'm going to take this over the machine with my chart. Here we go. And let's load the next design. Rearranging my thread. This is what I, oh, there goes Momo. He just had his little head on my bench, was looking so cute. I was like, oh, I can't stitch. I gotta go play with my dogs. Home button. I'm gonna be in my bottom USB. I erased all my other designs. We're gonna go to mini quilts January through June. That's just what I named it, my background quilting. And for this design, the strawberries, we're using Fruit 6 4x6. Fruit 6. I've got to go to my embroidery folder, pick the format that you are, and here's my 4x6. And go ahead and set that. I'm going to add, and the design I'm adding is the strawberries. Mini quilts. I have a lot on this USB. June. Because they're all those things that you saw are in progress. I haven't finished any of them. And we are going to be centered. So you're just going to leave it the way it is. Go ahead and touch embroidery. That will combine your design so they'll move together as one. And my hoop is on my machine. I'm going to go layout, move, scoot it up. I'm just going to move it the tiniest bit. And then I'm going to touch this button down here, which will let me go forwards and backwards, stitches and colors. And let's stitch out your first stitch out, which is going to be placement for my batting. And I'm going to grab my batting fabric. Let's grab my batting and my background fabric, which is the cutest plaid ever. They redid the plaid, so these two fabrics. And while it's doing that, why don't I go ahead and let's put in the I'm going to put in this green. So I'm going to put this green in right here. And that's what we're going to do the quilting with. And normally I wouldn't do that, but you'll be able to see it on this fabric because the fabric is white with plaid on it. So normally I would be picking a different color that wouldn't match. But we're going to be able to fussy cut to that. Okay, let's spray that fabric. Make sure your embroidery is not turned under from before. Spray the wrong side of your background fabric and the wrong side of your batting. Okay, get the ickies off. And where you really don't want the ickies is on top of your batting right now, because that'll shadow through. My fabric is white. And the other place you don't want your ickies are on the back of this, and you can see I have some felt and a momo here, and I'm going to go ahead and cover this up. Before I lay it down, I'm going to feel around, make sure I'm pretty even. And now I'm going to skip some steps. Tack down for the batting. Don't need that if you cut it to size. Placement for the background. Don't need that if you already laid it down. Tack down for the background. You need this. So let's go ahead and stitch this out. Okay, let's see what we have to do next. Looks like the quilting stitch. I already have my color in there. The color I'm using is Clover. I'm just going to hit start. You can also look at your screen just to make sure you're on the right step. It'll show you what you're quilting next. Sorry. Hang on just a second. I'm surrounded. Ooh, this looks really pretty. And next thing we're going to do after it does the quilting, the instructions say after quilting, go to embroidery instructions. So we're going to stitch the jar placement line. It looks like color doesn't make a difference, so you're just going to go ahead and you could use the same color. And we're going to need one of our, I think we're going to need the pink, one of the taffy colored solid fabrics. I'm thinking it's this one. So we have two of them. Jar. One's for the jar and one's for the strawberry, so it's going to be this one, the smaller one. And you could go ahead and give that a shot of spray. this color in, I'm just going to do the placement stitch. I'm going to give this little piece of fabric a little shot of spray. You guys know where I'm spraying. I'm not going to show it to you. And we'll just lay this piece down right over that placement line. Let me go ahead and do that. You know what I think is funny? Because I feel like I see shadowing behind this. Yeah, it doesn't say to put fusible on this. You do see some of that fabric coming through, but, and if you wanted to, you could put some Shape Flex on that right now. I'm just going to go with it. There is going to be a little white piece of fabric that goes over that. Okay, hang on. Oops, we've got the shakes here. Let's trim that. If I did this again, I would definitely go ahead and put a little Shape Flex behind that. Because you see the green plaid, right? And I used to not be so picky, but now that I know there's a way of avoiding that, I would avoid it. But I'm in the middle of it, and I'm feeling lazy. It's a lazy Sunday. Okay, now it wants you to sit the jar satin outline, so color is going to make a difference. I'm changing out my green thread, and I'm going to be putting in, whoop, dropped it on the ground, taffy. Taffy, which is like a color you use all the time with Kimberbell stuff, so it's worth adding to your collection. All right, and just go ahead and hit start, and it is going to do some satin stitching around the jar. This is step number 3. After we stitch the jar satin outline, we're going to place the jar outside vinyl over the jar satin outline. So let's go ahead and grab our vinyl, which means for me finding it. I have this magnificent vinyl. You can't even see it. But this was in my stash. So I'm going to wipe it down a little bit just to make sure it's not dusty or dirty. And you know what's really funny is I was just looking at my June kit and there's vinyl in that kit. So don't throw it away, and it's hard to see sometimes, but can you see that vinyl? You can see the edge of it right next to the June line. So don't throw that away. If you don't use it right now, put it with your other stuff and use it later. And I think we also need that for the lemonade. So I'm going to go ahead and pull mine out, although I'm going to use this other piece that I found in my stash. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put my vinyl down right here. Once it starts stitching, it's going to hold. So, and we're leaving that same taffy in. So I'm just going to let it do the stitching. You can go ahead and tape it down on the edges if you want, but it should be fine. And then it says trim the vinyl as desired. A lot of times when I'm using vinyl, I'll trim it like right to the edge of the satin stitch. So that'd probably be like an 18th or a 16th inch away. So right here, we're doing the stitch down, and then we're going to go ahead and trim. Okay, I am going to go ahead and take this out and trim that up. It's another thing I really like about this hoop is it slides on and off pretty easily. For this trimming as desired, I like to use my curved straight, the first curve to go over the edge of the hoop, and the straight so I can control the way my cut lines look. Let me put this on my lap. And kind of twirl it around a little bit as we cut. And just trim that as desired. You don't want to use curved scissors, because if you do, when you cut with them, they leave like little smiley faces, and I personally don't like that. So I like to, when I really want to control my trim, then I use the curved straight scissors, and we carry those at the store. We carry this little itty bitty pair, which for the most part works for me, but we also carry a 6-inch, like the bigger pair, which I've used on occasion, but rarely. But you might like the bigger scissors. And this is vinyl coat, so it's not like you really see it that much. So I am trimmed. Let me go ahead and put this back on the machine. Fluff your fabric. Make sure that doesn't get curled under. Look how nice and shiny that is. And now it says stitch the label placement line. It is asking for white, so I'm going to take out my taffy. Let's put the white in. All right, placement. Fabric 4 is the label fabric, which is going to be this little cream piece right here. Let me give it a little shot of spray. Again, I don't know why we aren't using there we go. Here's our tack down. Why we're not using Shape Flex, but we're not. I'm just gonna go with it. Then we're gonna trim the fabric close to the stitch line and stitch the label decorative outline. Again, the snips make it so easy to trim. If you're new to embroidery, get the right scissors. Get the right everything. It's just going to make your job better. It'll make the final product better. Everything's going to be better. Okay, leave that white in. Stitch the label decorative outline. I can see that I am not threaded. Just stop, rethread. If you want, go back those stitches, but that was just the locking stitch. I'm just going to keep going. That's probably the end of it. And then it says stitch the twine placement line. The twine placement line is going to go kind of on the edge. Let's see. Stitch the twine placement line. It's going to go on the very top of the jar, like up here. And it says color doesn't make a difference. I'm just going to leave the white in. You're really going to have to look carefully, though, to find it, because it's going to be white on white. But it could be white, like right on the edge of the pink. Let's go ahead and hit start. It is right on the edge of the pink, so the white should be fine. Let's get our twine. Center the bow twine over both placement lines as shown. So right here, it did the 2 placement lines on the jar. And then we're going to center our twine just like you see. We're going to tape it in the middle and all the way to the right and all the way to the left. Or in this orientation, all the way to the top and all the way to the bottom. I really like to use, I'm just going to fold the twine in half. I'm going to put the middle. Here's my middle right here. That's probably about the middle. So I'm going to put the middle there. Is that my middle? Let's pull it over a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to get a piece of tape. I'm going to put it in the middle. And then I'm going to put a piece all the way to the left or the bottom. And another piece all the way to the top or to the right, depending on which way you're orienting everything. And then it says, stitch the twine tack down, remove the tape near the tack down lines, leave the twine ends taped in place at this time. So we're going to stitch it and we're going to take out this piece, but we're going to leave the other ones. So let me slide that on and let's do the tack down. Again, color doesn't make a difference. You want to make sure it goes right over that twine. And mine went over perfectly. There we go. And then we're going to stitch the ruffle placement line. Okay, let's remove this piece right here. But we're going to move the other 2. And ruffle, was I supposed to prep this? Let's see. Let's see. Oh, yeah, look at that. All right, so we were supposed to prepare this ruffle. So right here it says, apply a fray preventative product to the edge of the jar topper ruffle fabric. So a basting stitch along one long edge of the fabric with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then you're going to pull the bobbin thread to gather the fabric until it measures about 2 inches. I'm going to show you something even easier. I'm going to do it on my serger, so let me show you that. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do my ruffle, and I didn't even realize I needed to do a ruffle on my serger. So I have a Baby Lock Triumph, and I have some cream colored thread. I'm going to set up for a 4-thread overlock. 4-thread overlock, if you whoops, see on this side is, hang on. Oh, I'm on a different filming arm over here. But over here, you want to set it to A. We're going to take our differential feed, and some of you have never used your differential feed before. You can do this on the base model Baby Lock. You can also do this on pretty much like any serger. But normally, your little lever here is going to sit at the end, which I think stands for neutral and normal. We're going to turn it all the way up to the top, and you're going to see it's going to show the fabric gathering. Because you have 2 sets of feed dogs, and you're going to make it so your feed dogs travel at different speeds, and they're going to push it's going to push the fabric together. I have my P5 foot on, which I didn't even notice. That is a cording foot, and that's like one of my favorite feet. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to put on a clear foot so you can see, but I'm going to put this one on. This is just the clear overlock foot. And for your settings down here, I'm pretty sure M is 1/4 inch. So go ahead and set it up to M. Either 6.5 or M is 1/4 inch. I think it's M. It'll be around the same. And then you want to set your stitch length for the longest stitch length in your standard setting, and mine is 4. Okay, I call this riding the edge. And for riding the edge, what I mean is I want you to take your fabric, and this is your blade right here. you want to just take your fabric and skim along the blade so it doesn't cut off any of the fabric. If you cut off a little bit, that's not a big deal. And do not push or pull. Let the feed dogs do the work for you, and you're going to let it gather. Whoops. Okay, do you see how it's kicking out right here? I'm just going to push that in a little bit. You do have to make sure your fabric stays next to the blade. And just run it right off. You want to tail front and back. And you're going to see I'm going to have that little gather. And I did have a couple stitches go off because it was kicking out. And that's it. It usually does about a 2 to 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and tie this end right here so the stitches can't go off. Let me go ahead and do that. I'm just going to do like a little overhand knot, and I'm just going to tie it because this is small. Normally, if I was doing a big piece, I would gather from the right in about half the way and from the other side in about half the way. But this is so tiny that I am just going to go ahead and tie a knot right here. And then you want to get your needle stitches. The needle stitches are the ones that are going straight down. The loopers are the ones that go to the edge. So I'm going to go ahead and near the edge, you want to grab this needle stitch right here. Do you see that? Sorry, I know it's going in and out. There we go. I'm going to grab that one. And then I'm going to grab the one right next to it. This is your needle. And then I can grab both of those. And you're doing this from the front. And I'm going to pull. And then it'll make it gather even more. And you want this to be 2 inches. So I'm going to kind of distribute those. You have to make sure you're set to a basting stitch. Sorry. Otherwise, it won't, the stitches won't pull well. And you can just distribute those. Isn't that neat? How quick and easy is that? And it wants it to be about 2 inches. So go and measure your 2 inches, and then you can tie a knot in this side too so it doesn't move. All right, see you back over at our embroidery machine. Next. Did you know you could ruffle on your serger? You could do that in really any serger that has a differential feed. Just make your stitch length as long as it can go. Turn your differential feed all the way up. Do a 4-thread overlock, and you are good and golden. Okay, stitch the ruffle placement line. And you want to do that. I'm going to go ahead and put taffy in to do that. And that's step number 10 right here. So I'm going to go ahead and take out my white thread. Put in my taffy. That's the pink I've been using. Okay, here's my ruffle placement line. Place the prepared jarred topper ruffle fabric right side up with the gathered edge centered. We want that centered along the placement line. The gathered fabric should not extend past the placement line. We want it centered, and it shouldn't extend. Okay, so now the instructions say, because I've stitched my remove the tape, stitch the ruffle placement line. I did that. I'm going to place the prepared jar topper ruffle fabric right side up with the gathered edge centered along the placement line, and the gathered fabric should not extend past the line, and tape in place as shown. So you want to go ahead and right side of fabric, and then we're going to go ahead and put the tape down. Tape is going to go over the whole gather. So here's my ruffled edge. Let's get those threads out of the way because you know I did it on the serger, which makes it look amazing. And we're gonna tape, here's this. That is the, that's the placement line. And I'm gonna put this, and the gather should not extend past that. I'm gonna pull it just a little bit. Make sure it's right side up. And we are gonna tape this gather down. Looks a little cumbersome, but let's go ahead and, here's my tape. I'm gonna get a long piece. I think for me, what I'm gonna do is I am gonna go ahead and I'm going to put this here and extend it all the way. There we go. So I just put my tape, and that kind of keeps it together. I'm also going to cut off this big juicy thread part. And remember, the ruffle should not extend past the line, the stitch line. Here's my stitch line right here. So I'm going to lay it down. That's my placement line. Put my tape down. Maybe I want it a little bit longer. There we go. And this is, here we go. I want it right to that edge. Okay. Play with it a little bit. Make sure it's how you want it to be. I'm going to put this down, and now we're going to go ahead and stitch it down. I'm going to hold it. When you hold it down, it stitches nice and slowly. And that way, it's not going to fly along, and I'm going to be so stressed out that it's not, that it's ruining my ruffle. So now it's just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And if I let go, it'll go full speed. And I just want to make sure that it stays in place. I'm just going to go really slowly again. To me, it's going to be worth it. I want to get over the hump of this. I don't want it to like kick it out to the left at all. That's where the ruffle is the biggest. I'm going to let go here. I think it should be good. There we go. And that is done. Now it says stitch the jar topper placement line, and it looks like it's going to go kind of right by what we just did. Did it tell us to take the tape off? It did not. This is the jar topper placement line. Looks like the jar topper placement line is kind of going to go right along the top where we stitched it down before. Doing that locking stitch. Place the jar topper fabric right side down. So now we're going to take the jar topper fabric. That's the longer piece. I actually thought this was the one I was supposed to ruffle, and I did ruffle that one first. I don't know why. I just did. Okay, so we are going to center it to that line right here. You're putting it right side down and centered to that line. It's going to flip it up once we're done. So go ahead. You don't want to spray. You never want to spray the right side. But now it has this right side down. We're going to flip it back. That was step number 13. We're going to take this. And it wants you to give it a little press, but I don't want to give it a little press. I'm just going to go ahead and take my spray. I'm going to give it a little shot of spray so it'll hold in place. If I can find it. Oh, when in doubt, in my room, look on the floor. I know I say don't spray in the hoop, but every once in a while I will. I'm going to pull this back a little bit, and I'm going to shield it. And I'm a pretty good sprayer. I held in my hand there. Everything looks good. I'm going to flip it back just so it's going to hold it in place. And then it says along the edge, stitch the jar topper seam allowance. We did that. Remove the tape. So now we're going to go ahead and get rid of all our tape. Hopefully I can get all this out. There's my tape. Is there any in here? Nope. I think we're good. Okay, so remove our tape. Flip the fabric, use a mini iron. I'm not going to do that. Stitch the jar topper tack down. So we are in step number 14. I just folded it back. We're doing 14. It's going to do the tack down. And then we're going to go ahead and trim the fabric along the red line. So we're only going to trim the very top part of it. So let's go ahead and do that. I don't want this to be in the way. Let's get this tape out of the way too. Pull that down. Now we're going to trim around that. Make sure you don't cut your twine because you're going to need that. You want that cutie twine because we're going to be tying our jar. So make sure that twine is not in the way. Oh, here are those threads. Make sure that twine is below your scissors as you're trimming. There we go. And it says, remove the tape from the twine and tie the twine into a bow as desired, then tape in place. Okay, so they want you to go ahead and tie this into a bow. Let's go ahead and turn that a little bit. As desired. And then we're going to tape it in place. Secret tip, and I know this from hiking, take this end, put it under once, put it under again, and then it doesn't come out as easily. That's what you do with your hiking boots. He's kind of wrapped up, isn't he? Okay, and then we're going to tape this in place. I'm going to tape him. I wonder if we're going to satin stitch. Next thing we're going to do is stitch fresh berries down here. So you definitely don't want him hanging down into that part of your embroidery. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up out of the way. Just like that. And now it wants to stitch out fresh berries. I'm going to do mine in Wildflower, which is the red that I really like to use. Sorry, this filming arm is always between me and the machine, so sometimes I end up hitting it. Here we go. Stitch Berry Fresh. Before we do that, it looks like it is stitching out the top. So that must be the decorative outline. Sorry about that. I was just looking at my screen and where my needle is, and that did not make sense to me. So it is doing the decorative outline first. I'm going to get this out of the way. We're going to take the red out because we're going to do that in the pink. Sorry about that. And if you want, you could use a different pink. I'm going to use pink lemonade because I think pink lemonade looks cuter with the stripes, and it's a shade lighter. But you could just keep using the taffy. Sorry, I thought I was a step ahead. And that's why it's good to, when it doesn't look right, to go, oh, it's probably not right. And then I looked at the screen. And I think it's supposed to do the decorative outline and then you pull your twine in, but I've already pulled my twine in. I'm just going to leave it. Now you remove the tape from the twine ends, tie the twine into a bow as desired, then tape in place, but mine's already done. Now I'm going to switch my bow up to the top part because now it's going to do the little berry sign right there. So let's go ahead and now put the red in. I'll slide my hoop on. And let's go ahead and stitch out Very Fresh. We are about halfway through. I'm going to stop that so I can get that thread out of the way. Start that again. I feel like I should have just rolled the edge on this, and then I wouldn't have to worry about it fraying at all. Now it wants you to, I'm just leaving my red in, stitch the strawberry one placement line, and then you're going to place strawberries one fabric right side up. We have a couple different pieces of strawberry fabric. Strawberry one fabric looks like it is 3 inches by 3 inches. So it's going to be this bigger piece right here. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little shot of spray. Place the strawberry one fabric right side up. Then you're going to do the tack down. This really makes it right. The bright red with the pink, with the green. And it's the tack down. You can always confirm, look at your screen. It should have been turquoise for the placement and orange for the tack down. Once you do the tack down, you're going to trim the fabric close to the stitch line. And then we're going to stitch the strawberries one decorative outline. Okay, let's go ahead and trim. Trim it nice and close. Okay, I'm going to slide this back on. Now it's going to do the decorative stitching, and that's in red. And then we're going to stitch the leaves, fill 1. And I'd say use either the aloe or the clover, whichever green is calling your name. I think I'm going to go aloe. I want like a pop. Okay, we are doing the leaves now. A minute of stitching. This is the next fabric that's going to go down, is this longer piece for the strawberry. So I'm going to give this a little shot of spray. Okay, we're going to put the red back in. Here we go. It's Wildflower. Okay, next is placement line, and it wants you to do it in the pink or taffy or whatever color you're using. I'm using taffy because that's going to match the strawberries. And you do for these, like, the reason you want color makes a difference is sometimes that decorative stitch, I always call it the Kimberbell decorative stitch, it doesn't totally cover the thread underneath. And so you don't want to do green and have like green showing underneath the pink. Patrick, Patrick's hanging out in here. He wants to be with his love, but he brought the dogs too. Your love will be out there in just a minute. Okay, I'm going to stop it there, and I'm going to go ahead and cut. The reason for that is I know that this is the leftmost strawberry. I know that is the rightmost strawberry. I'm just going to lay my fabric down. I do have to fast forward it. I'm going to do that, and it should be good. I'm just going to put it down here. And if you look, I'm still on turquoise, so I have to go here where I go forward and backward stitches. And I'm going to go to the orange. It's still in turquoise. So now I'm in the orange. And now I know I'm going to do the tack down, and it goes over it twice. I just go, why do I have to do all of that? I know where it's going to go. You know me, I'm super impatient. So I knew the outermost part, the rightmost and the leftmost, and now I'm just going to do the tack down. If you want, you could cut your two pieces much smaller. We're going to go ahead and trim the fabric close to the stitch line. Okay, looking cute. Go ahead and leave that same pink in. Now it's going to do the decorative outline. This is step number 24. Decorative outline. The next step is step number 25. Right now we're doing the strawberries decorative outline, which is right here. Then it wants to do the little chevrons in that same pink, and then we're going to do a bunch of red. Looks like red. Oh, because we have to do the other strawberries. Yeah, we have to do the strawberries that are closer. This is just so cute, and I think it has everything to do with the fabric in it. Okay, go ahead and do those chevron accents in the same pink. Now we're on step number 26. We're going to go ahead and change the thread out to red. Red. And we're going to do more red strawberries. Those are the juiciest ones. You know, for me, I don't know. A good strawberry is hard to beat. I think the only thing in my book that beats a good strawberry is a good peach. Okay, here's the placement line. In my heart, I really feel as though I knew where those strawberries were going to go. And I don't know if I needed those because one goes here and one goes here. But let's do it anyways. I'm going to spray my red fabric in my spray tent with a little bit of KK 100. I've been sitting here for the past 15 minutes waiting to start the video again, and I couldn't because Patrick was in here with the dogs, and they were having a bark fest, and they were playing, and they were running, and they were jumping. Okay, this is step number 27. This is the tack down, and then we're going to trim close to the stitch line. And we're almost done. We have 4 more steps after this. Or actually 5 more steps. Okay, go ahead and trim these. Should probably wait for it to stop moving first. At night, I start to get really tired, so I had to really motivate. I was like, I need to finish this. And then I'm going to try and get Patrick to edit the video. We'll see if I am successful. Uh-oh. The dogs are at the door, barking to come in. How cute are those? Okay, hit start. This is step number 28. Stitch the strawberry 3 decorative outlines. And then we're going to stitch the chevron accents. So for the chevron accents, we're going to do the red ones, and it looks like they go up here and here. So we're those 2 spots. So I'm going to have to move my ribbon, move this down to here probably. And then we'll do a little more leaf fill, and then we're done. I'm thinking I'll do the lighter green. And then I think we have one more block to do. The lemonade block, and that is done in 2 parts. All right, let me go ahead and let's do the chevron. We'll do this set first. And then I'm going to hit the stop button so I can get rid of the tape for the other one. Let me get this out of the way. Here we go. This is the other set of chevrons. actually leave that same green in because it's just really nice and bright. So let's go ahead and put our green in right now. That's the aloe. White to do the seed detail. Oh, look at that. There's like so many seeds. So after we do these leaves, we're going to do all those seeds on the strawberries. And that looks like it's going to take a while. Let me see if I can get ready for the last embroidery. All right, let's put in our white, and that's going to be 3 minutes of stitching, and then we have to do the guidelines, and we are done. Okay, here we go. All right. And just let it go ahead and stitch out all those seeds. a lot of jump threads to trim. So make sure you have a good pair of tweezers and a good pair of snips. And actually, I prefer the snips with the hook. And I have 2 pairs. I have the Tula pink ones, which, come on, they're so cute. So you gotta get them. And then I have the OESD ones, which are so cute too, but not as cute as these. I'm going to challenge myself to see if I can cut jump threads while it's stitching, because that's how impatient I am. Oh, I can do it. So you take the hook and put it under the thread and clip all the way to one side and then grab it and then clip the other side. I'm surprised. I didn't think I'd be so good at it. And this makes it so you're not watching the paint dry, right? Because right now I'm like watching every seed. Okay, so hook on one side, clip, and then grab it with the tweezers, the thread up, and then get the other one, the other side. Look how good those look. They look horrible if you don't trim it, so you really have to trim it. And it's worth having the right tool. Boop. Oh, look at, I have all of these jump threads too, all these red ones. I feel like a surgeon, like I'm performing delicate surgery, but not really. Okay, 1 pink strawberry down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 strawberries to go. It's pretty good at like cutting without the tweezers too. I feel like with the OESD ones, you really have to be using the tweezers too. But this seems pretty good. Just getting them without. Did you see that? 2 at 1. 2 at once. This is like a good task when you're sitting in front of the TV watching a show your husband chose that you're not interested in. Like a mountain biking video or a ski video or a rock climbing video. And when your husband is a TV hog. I know none of you have a husband who's a TV hog. Sometimes I feel like I do extreme sports because I've watched so many extreme sport movies. And then I go, oh no, I don't do extreme sports. I don't have the right angle for these. So I find with the OESD ones, I cut this direction and then I cut this direction. It could be either or. But with this, I'm finding that if I just cut this direction every time and put my hook down on the bottom part, they work the best. So you do what works best for you, where you're able to get the closest cut. And you might just need to experiment. Okay, and last thing we're going to do is going to be the trimming guidelines, and then you can go back and cut all of those, trim all of those strawberries. I'm going to go ahead and put pink in because that'll be a good contrast with the white and the green. And with all of that trimming, that time just flew. If I had just been sitting there watching it sow each of those seeds, that might have been painful. Go back. So I'm going to touch OK on my screen. I want to go back to the beginning of that. Let's just go -10. There's my little cursor, -10. And that's good enough because what I really want is that line, and I want the little hash mark that goes down the center. Let's thread her up again if I can find the end. Oh, that didn't catch again, which makes me go, it's the bobbin. Let's go back. I'm going to go here, there. And this totally didn't catch. So if you're threaded and it doesn't catch, then most likely it's something going on in the bobbin area. There's a new quilt coming out. I know you go, wait a minute, but I haven't even done mini quilts too. I know. Well, we've got quilting through the seasons that we have to get through. And a quilty little Christmas is coming out too. There we go. And we are done with the strawberries. And if you look right here, again, I just like to use my precision tweezers, these and these. You're going to take the hook and cut. And then if you hold that other end up, and you know your machine cuts all its jump threads, except if I can't remember if it's 5 millimeters or 9 millimeters. If it's 5 millimeters away, it doesn't cut. And that's why you have these little ones. But it cuts all the big ones. So hook under one side, grab it with the tweezers, and get it on the other side. And it makes all the difference. When I first started embroidering, I didn't always cut my jump threads, and then it just looks unfinished. I mean, you wouldn't even realize that these were seeds if you left them. So you really do have to go through and get them all. It makes it so you don't see the lettering if you don't get them. And when did I do this? Didn't even realize. Hook under one end. The other thing I have that I love are my side hoppers. And I haven't used these in a while. You know what happens? I get really used to doing the other ones and then I don't use these. So these are side hoppers and they have like little feet. So you're going to just take it and you're going to get 1 foot under. Now look, I go, wait a minute. I think I love my side hoppers best. Oh my goodness. Maybe I do love them. I go back and forth because sometimes I use these and I go, I like those best. And then I don't use my side hoppers for a long time. But look at this. Uh-oh, I'm totally feeling like I love my side hoppers. Okay, yes, these are called side hoppers. And we have these at the store. And for this, so I have green ones. You never know what color we have in the store. Sometimes we have hot pink ones and sometimes we have green ones. We have whatever they send us. I don't even ask. I just go side hopper. And then whatever they send me, I'm happy with. So just so you know, if you order the side hoppers, because I'm feeling like these are almost doing a better job. I don't know, I was down on the side hoppers and so up on the scissors with the hook. Okay, whichever one you feel comfortable with, they both do a great job. I just really believe in conjunction with them, you're going to want to use the tweezers. Because then you can hold the other thread straight up in the air. But you got to get something. Side hoppers or the tweezers. All right. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me do this. I will finish this on my own. And hope you enjoyed our very fresh strawberries. And I will see you for the lemonade block. I'll see you later. Bye.